have been working. I work in a couple of different think tanks in Australia. But the work that I'm doing at the moment is with a think tank called the Development Intelligence Lab. So the Development Intelligence Lab is very much focused around development in the Pacific and Southeast Asia. We try and not to be just like an aid lobbyist kind of place in Australia that says, our government needs to spend more on aid across the region, but actually focus on, with the money that we do have and the finance that we have in the area, how do we do development better, and what we should be focusing on. And my role for the last kind of 6 months in the lab, but for the last 5 or 6 years in other think tanks, has been looking in the Pacific across a variety of different areas. But it was very much initially focused on misinformation, disinformation. That became a broader tech thing. When I first started doing that work, AI wasn't even really a thing. Obviously, that's grown more and more over the last couple of years. And now it has kind of expanded into a whole realm of different kind of problems. But yeah, the work that we're doing at the moment is to inform some of the Australian government's work on developing a regional engagement and leadership strategy on AI. So the Australian government wants to kind of, they're going to put out a document in the next couple of months that really drives the way that they want to engage in the region on AI and how they can support Pacific Island countries and Southeast Asia as well. They're not quite sure if they're going to have kind of 2 different strategies there, or there'll be some sort of overlap. But either way, they're bringing this document out soon, and we want to make sure that the Australian government understands where the Pacific is at on a lot of these issues and kind of what needs to be done, and how they can actually best support the region. So that's the sort of questions that we want to talk about today. But yeah, we'll start by I'd love to learn more about yourself and the work that you're doing and how that all kind of fits in with AI.
Yeah, anyway, thank you very much for a brief introduction of yourself. I thought last time we met in Fiji at the DCN Global Pacific Islands launch event. Have you attended that event in 2024, December? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
In 2024, at Nadi, Fiji. Yeah. Okay. Right. I thought you participated online because I haven't seen your physical presence there, but we were engaged as speakers there, both of us. Yeah, we were engaged. I was to speak about migration of Pacific Island countries into preparation of Pacific Island countries for digital transformation. I spoke about the subject with Dr. Doctor from Fiji National University, and there was a Romanian lady too that were part of the panel as well. But anyway, for myself, I'm a tech policy analyst with NetMissiondo Asia Pacific Policy Observatory. We do a lot of research and write up on digital governance policies. One of my policies was published in collaboration with the researchers from Humboldt Residency Program 2024 in Germany. It's called the impact of climate change on digital governance policies in Tuvalu. In 2025, we produced a couple of research papers on artificial intelligence, especially to do with all those online surveillance and stuffs like that. So I focused more on online surveillance in the Pacific Island countries. And I wrote up a research paper in collaboration with an Australian counterpart. His name is Sakdeva. Yeah, Rohan Sakdeva. So we published the report in last year. The link is here. I'll send you the link after this chat.
Yeah, thanks. That'd be great.
So also I was invited as a speaker on online surveillance in the Pacific Island countries, the impact of artificial intelligence on data privacy and protection at the DRAPAC Digital Rights Asia Pacific Conference held in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, where I participated as a speaker there on that subject. So at least I have a bit of a fair idea on the impact of AI on data privacy protection within the region. Yeah, so at the moment, I'm currently attached as an inaugural working group member for the Coalition on Digital Impact it's a North American-based organizations where we look more into integrating local languages from the global south into the internet, global internet governance ecosystem. So yeah, so to do that, we have to, rely on artificial intelligence and machine learning to help us to, but it's more of a technical work. We have colleagues from around the world, like in US and Africa, especially in Kenya, and also in UK and Poland, that are helping to do that work. But I'm part of that work where I contributed in, Papua New Guinea, where we have 800 plus languages, and I contributed perspectives on how we can integrate those. Especially, we can start with a single language, like first, for instance, my case, Kaffir language, to integrate it into the internet with the help of our AI and ML. Yeah, so that's all about me, but I'm also the principal consultant of a local consulting firm. It's called Snow Consultancy. I participated as part of the Global Green Growth Institute and funded by the Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. I participated in Papua New Guinea Green Preneurs Program, and we just graduated just last week, recently, very recently. And I got a certificate from that, my participation as well. So I led a small consulting firm that do a lot of research write-ups, project submissions, and also we are into, cybersecurity and, stuffs like that, yeah. And I also, in terms of, short courses, I was glad that I got funded by the US Department of State, where I undertook an online cybersecurity training with Monash University in Australia. It's called the Post-Quantum Cryptography in the Indo-Pacific program. I happened to have graduated just last year in December 2025. So that's all about me. I just participated as an ICANN 86 fellow in ICANN Policy Forum in Spain in last month. And yeah, so from there, I had to come back and to my country after the conference. So yes, I was, very glad to, that you reach out through the WhatsApp to talk to me about, data sovereignty, because it's one of those critical subjects where, the government and the civil society and PNG at large, the society, they need to, have, they know how to, navigate our country in terms of, securing our national data infrastructures within the country, so that, we don't have external influence, have surveillance on data and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you. That's all about me. I won't say much.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. You're an incredibly busy man to fit all of those places in. It sounds like you're traveling all over the place. But yeah, very glad that I was able to find you online through that chat. And it sounds like you're the perfect kind of person I want to be speaking to about these things. So that's fantastic. And you've even got the mix of you're engaging with governments, you've got your own consultancy, you've got all the different perspectives. So that's fantastic. Well, yeah, if it's okay with you, we'll just jump into some of those questions now.
No worries, we can go. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first question I have is, what does AI sovereignty mean to you, and what does it mean in a specific context, and why does it matter for your country's development?
In terms of AI sovereignty, AIs they are powered by, they are connected to data centers, and they are powered by, data centers. And when it comes to sovereignty, like when you speak, for instance, if you speak about political sovereignty, that's, you are getting, you want to be independent from the control of another country in terms of political sovereignty. So seen from that spectrum and perspective, if you want to attain or have a digital sovereignty or data sovereignty, the big thing is that the main important thing is that you have to have the establishment of a proper data center within the country. That will give the government the exclusive right over the data of the citizens of the country, the netizens. So in that case now, looking at Papua New Guinea currently, we have a mini data center with which is developed by PNG Datacom. It's a government entity, and but it's kind of very small. The capacity is small, so it needs to be augmented and upgraded to cater for the need of the nation in terms of digital sovereignty. So we don't have. I've done a bit of research about the Pacific the island countries. All the 18 Pacific Island countries, they don't have a data center in place in their respective countries. So we have a Levili data center in Samoa, and Fiji at the moment, it doesn't have a proper data center. It doesn't have a data center, but there's this proposal from Google Tech, from the Google company, that they want to invest approximately about $200 million in building a data center for Fiji that will cater for the entire Pacific. But that is good in one sense. That is good in one sense. But for my case here, when we in the context of our discussion, when we talk about data sovereignty, we have to be cautious because Google has most of its data centers back in US, and they have been regulated and managed, coordinated, controlled by big tech companies in US. So they could have easily have access to online surveillance within those within the Pacific Islands if they happen to build a data center in Fiji or like Papua New Guinea or wherever else. So I would suggest, in the context of our discussion here, I would suggest that we should look at if they want to help us, like our bilateral allies like Australia or like New Zealand or like United States of America or United Kingdom for that matter. They have to invest in helping our government, like provide counterpart funding for them to help to build our own data centers within the country. We have an existing one in Port Moresby. It's based. It's been developed by Datacorp, but it's a mini one. It's a very small one, so the capacity is small. So to cater for the 10+ million people data of Papua New Guineans, we need support from Australia to augment the capacity of the data center to expand so that we can cater for the needs of the government as well as the business community and the civil society and local SMEs, like people like us providing consulting firms to consulting services to, and the citizens of this country. And the government is thinking of implementing the biometric electronic voting system in the upcoming 2027 national general election. So I don't know whether that's going to be done, because we had that instance where the plan was to be executed in 2022, but they failed to execute that. They have not implemented that biometric electronic voting system, and they've decided to, according to the government digital government strategy, they've decided to implement that in the upcoming 2027 national general election. But that will very much depend on data centers, and we don't have the capacity at the moment to cater for that, to accommodate such swift digital transformation of the country. So I would recommend that Australia should come in to invest more in building our national data centers. And we have this existing one which has been established by PNG Datacorp, so they should augment and expand the capacity. And in that way, now we will have control of our own data. We will have control of our. We will have that sense of data sovereignty. So, like our government should have exclusive right on the ownership of the data of the citizens of this country, and there shouldn't be any external parties having slight surveillance over national data for our country. Yeah, so there are a lot of very confidential informations, like medical records of sick patients too. It will need data centers to cater for that, and also in the political arena, like I just mentioned, we will have to facilitate biometric electronic voting system. It will also need data centers to empower that, so to keep the data of the citizens within the country without external parties having any influence or surveillance over it. So I would suggest that Australia should come should help provide counterpart funding. Like for instance, they have already, thanks to the Australian government for providing 75% of counterpart funding to the Coral Sea cable system that connects the Sydney Global Internet Hub with the Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands, and they've shown as a big brother within the region, Australia have shown their support already in terms of building digital infrastructures for the country. Like, for instance, the currency cable system, where they spend 75% of Australian taxpayers' money to help the PNG government to connect a Sydney global internet hub with Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands. So in that similar way, I would suggest or recommend strongly that they should also fund data centers in terms of providing counterpart funding to support expand the existing data center by PNG Dataco or the Department of Information Communications Technology, so that in that way our government can have control over our own data instead of third parties having surveillance over our data. So I think, yeah, I don't have much to say, but there is also, if you want me to elaborate further, I can still go ahead. But I think
that's very insightful, and I really appreciate the detail you're able to provide there. I didn't actually know about the PNG Dataco like mini data center, so that's really useful information as well. And I think I certainly agree with you when Australia is looking at AI sovereignty, it usually starts at that data center position.
Yeah.
I'm not part of the Australian government, and I don't have I don't necessarily want to like back them up in everything that they're kind of doing, but I know like at the moment the way that the Australian government is looking at it in places like PNG and Fiji, perhaps there is enough space, there is enough kind of electrical supply and water supply and all those things to house data centers. But for some of the other smaller countries in the Pacific, it might be too difficult to physically house data centers. And so I think the Australian government is looking at a model that is potentially, hosting some of the data in Australia for other Pacific Island nations. Do you think for Papua New Guinea there is some sort of compromise there where some data can be housed in Australia or elsewhere, or does it all need to be housed in PNG? And I think like Australia would be like, and obviously I am too, very interested in kind of if there is a middle ground there in terms of a small amount of sensitive data, making sure that that's kept onshore, but being comfortable with some of the other stuff being kept offshore that is perhaps deemed less sensitive, just for the sake of electrical and water capacity and those sorts of things.
Yeah, I want to elaborate something here. That is a very a critical perspective to take into account, but there is this thing about hosting data centers also. I've done some bit of research into that, and with the increase of Pacific Island countries using the latest AI version of DeepSeek, DeepSeek has been connected to data centers in China. So they have. I've done some bit of research where I've discovered that there was an investigation done by a cybersecurity firm known as Ferut. So they did a bit of investigation into the DeepSeek AI, and they've discovered that there's a hidden code within this DeepSeek AI where they send or they transmit data and information back to Chinese data centers, which is owned by China Mobile. There's a department in China that has control over all data. So it's kind of like fizzy. So it's like the Chinese government here is having surveillance over who use DeepSeek and things, stuff like that. So because of that, DeepSeek has been delisted from New York Stock Exchange, according to what I've discovered in the research. So, and not only that, but also Google Apps too. There's this case in US where those who use the Google app and those who use the Android phone, they can easily be tracked by Google firm. There are 4 states within the US where they had to pursue that in the court because it breaches data privacy. of U.S. citizens. So Google has to pay a big sum of money of 392 million USD as a compensation to 40 states within the US because it breaches data privacy and concerns around that area. So because they track locations of those who use the Google app and without their consent and without their permissions, even though they've like they turn off the or disable the location track system within the phone. So yeah, so I'm a bit quite concerned if we are going to host data centers offshore. I mean, Australia, it's a big brother within the region. I won't have any problem about that. But there are others within the political arena as well as the bureaucracy, and like our country at the moment is divided. Some are they are trying to forge strong diplomatic ties with China. Others they are we are with the West, we are with the US and Australia, New Zealand, and so on. It's going to have like people will come up with their own critical perspectives, and there's going to be like people. It's going to be an issue where people will talk a lot, but for my point of view, it's in my opinion where the Australian government should help PNG government to augment the existing mini data centers within the country. That will be very helpful for the government. So that's I mean that's my own personal opinion. But if the government of the day if the government of the day decides to work in collaboration with our biggest bilateral partner, which is Australia, to build offshore data centers, that would be good as well. But it depends, as I said. Different people have different perceptions, different views on data sovereignty. So, but from my point of view, I would suggest that we should help the PNG government to build our own data centers within the country, and it will require a lot of electricity, a lot of power supply to have a data center. And at the moment, I tell you, Port Moresby, there's to be there are frequent blackouts, there are frequent power cuts, and it will pose a big problem for the government to host big mega data centers within the country. So this situation is also experienced in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, where I come from, like Goroka and Ainantu and Ley City and Medang Town and Mount Hagen, all these centers that are powered by the Yonki Dam, Yonki Electric Dam. They sort of like experience frequent power cuts. So to substitute for that, to host data centers within Australia also, that will make sense too, because of the these issues of power cuts and frequent power cuts and blackouts that we have within the city, the nation's capital. And KG Power is not doing a very good job here to maintain a constant supply of electricity and within the city. So yeah, in terms of building our own data centers too, we have to take into consideration electricity, because data centers will need vast amounts of electric power to host data centers. So and Australia have that capacity. Australia have that to host offshore data center for PNG, but as I said, that it depends on PNG government, Australian, to negotiate and then to come to agreement about that. But from my own point of view, I am for the opinion that we should have data centers established within Papua New Guinea. And the Australian government should also take into account to help us to build, to help us to upgrade our Yonki Dam, whether to upgrade, or help us to build some, nuclear reactors or something that can, boost the electricity supply so that we can have our own data centers. So, it's just my opinion. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Those opinions are exactly what we're trying to to kind of pull out in this report is trying to understand where priorities lie and what is kind of the first choice for Pacific countries in a sense. Because I think on the Australian side, sometimes the obvious, they jump a couple of steps down the line and they go, oh, there's the electricity to do and there's all this sort of stuff like, well, let's just house the data. And it's like, no, there's more options to that. Like, sure, Australia can reach some sort of agreement with Pacific Island countries to host data, but that doesn't mean that should be the end of the conversation. There should be more conversations, as you said, about strengthening the electricity grid and all those sorts of things, so that down the line, if it doesn't happen right now, but we can create an environment where PNG is able to build and maintain its own data center and have reliable electricity and all those sorts of things. So yeah, we do really value those opinions in making sure that this is as forward looking as possible and saying, yeah, Australia shouldn't just necessarily take the easiest option, but should actually look at what is really needed and wanted across the region, which is that bigger picture stuff. So yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate that kind of standpoint. One of the other things you mentioned as you were talking then was around like DeepSeek kind of data privacy models and some of the issues with the US things. When we look at sovereignty, at least on the Australian perspective, because we're obviously very new to this whole AI thing as well, within our own kind of institutions, we've broken it down into a couple of different layers of sovereignty. So the highest of those layers is the infrastructure, talking about building the data centers and those sorts of things. And then we have data sovereignty underneath that, which is who has access to the data and how are they accessing it, and who is it being kind of shared with. And then the layers beneath that, we have like a knowledge sovereignty layer, which is about what large language models are being used, the systems that are being developed, and whether or not they're kind of like adapted. Within Australia, obviously, most of the population speaks English, but we also have a lot of Indigenous people that a lot of their data is getting put into these kind of broader things, and it's not always culturally relevant. And that's causing some issues, particularly around like health data and those things. And then we have the most kind of bottom layer, which is application sovereignty, which is who owns the AI tools and how they're being used across healthcare and education, those sorts of things. So on those kind of different layers, you started to speak a little bit about using the different models and those sorts of things, and the kind of governance around those in terms of which ones are safe to use and not safe to use, and how you kind of enforce those things. Is that something that you think Australia can work with Pacific nations to support? Do you think that is something as well that is kind of a few people that I've spoken to so far have said it should be a kind of regionally driven decision, or do you think that's something for each country to do bilaterally, determine what LLMs are best used in each country and what's kind of safe and not safe?
I would say that can you reiterate a bit on that?
Yeah, I realized that was like a bit of a big question. Sorry. When it comes to the different models that are being used, so people using DeepSeek, or people using ChatGPT or Claude, or all these various different kind of AI tools. Do you think that governments in the Pacific have enough information and support to create those regulations? And do you think that each Pacific nation should kind of like go it alone in creating those kind of rules about what is safe to use and not safe to use? Or do you think that's something that should be worked out on a regional level? A few people that I've spoken to so far as part of this research have suggested that the region needs to come up with some sort of what's safe and not safe to use in the AI space, and kind of put out guidance for everyone? Or do you think it's more easily just done country by country?
I think we would very much need such laws like GDPR for the EU region to be in place in the country. At the moment, we don't have an AI policy as yet. The government is currently working on an AI policy through the National Department of Information and Communications Technology. So the government at the moment, they have what they call the Digital Government Act 2022. And they also have Digital Transformation Policy 2020. And they are now currently working on digital economy policy and the AI policy, but we don't have they have not formulated it as yet, but there's a talk been going on within the government caucus where they are trying to put in place an AI policy that will, be a pathway for the country to move forward in the next 5 to 10 years time. So I would very much recommend that we should have something like what the the European Union have within their region, GDPR, general data protection regulation in place to regulate the use of AI systems within the country. There are some countries like Hong Kong where I've been to where they have banned some AI apps. Where when I try to, like for instance, when I try to access ChatGPT while I was in Hong Kong last month. It didn't work. So maybe they have, for security reasons or whatever, I don't know, but they have banned ChatGPT to operate within China, so Hong Kong and China. So maybe for data sovereignty purpose or whatever, like what we've discussed already. So within the region, I would very much want us to, we can have bilateral talks or with our Pacific Island countries, with the Australian government and New Zealand government as well to we can come up with a Pacific strategy or put in place a Pacific strategy where we can like some apps, AI systems, AI applications that are powered by data centers also are not like good for a country where they can be in terms of cybersecurity and in terms of surveillance, it can be risky for us within the region. So like for instance DeepSeek, I personally don't use the DeepSeek app very much, and I've done some, as I told you already, I've done some background research into DeepSeek AI, and I've discovered there's been surveillance mechanism being built into it, and I would recommend that from the government level, if they can, through the Department of Information Communications Technology, if they can ban such AI systems like DeepSeek, it would be good for the Pacific Island countries. Like we don't want the Chinese government to have a surveillance on us. So, but in terms of putting in place the rules and regulations and the policy, it will need think tanks from not only from within the government sector, but from civil society, and it will need think tanks from private sector like myself, and it will need also think tanks from the multi-stakeholder process should be involved. Everyone should have their say over this how they want AI systems to be regulated within the country. So we should not be only we should not only allow government public servants. We should not only allow the government circles to discuss the way forward for the country in terms of regulating the use of AI within the country, but there should be an open discussion where through a multi-stakeholder process, like in terms of internet governance within the internet policy making that has been done. As I've participated in 2 internet governance conference, like the ICANN 82 fellowship in US and the ICANN 86 fellowship again in Spain. So I've had a bit of knowledge about multi-stakeholder process. So it will be very great if the government can have a holistic stakeholder consultation where they can have the people from different spheres can contribute to how we can formulate a strategy or put up a regulations in place to regulate how the AI systems will work and function within our region, especially in the Pacific and in Papua New Guinea. But for my case, I would very much like us to adhere to the GDPR policy regulations within the EU region. I would recommend us to follow that. So that's from my own personal opinion. Yeah. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you. I realize I only set this for like a half an hour meeting slot, but if you have a couple more minutes, I have one final question to ask.
No worries. You can ask.
Yeah. Great. I usually try and finish off by asking where should Australia look to support first, and what should Pacific countries be doing first when it comes to AI. I think obviously from what we've talked about, the top priority is for Australia to look for ways to invest in building data centers and in building the infrastructure in the Pacific so that they can house sovereign data centers and keep the data onshore and keep it protected. So I guess my question today is what comes next for that? So underneath that level, what is the next thing that Australia should be looking to support the Pacific in terms of AI?
In terms of Australian support to Papua New Guinea, I would very much recommend as a first step. We should consider about building, helping the country to build massive solar farms that can, step up electricity supply, because data centers, they consume a lot of electricity. That's one option. And the other option is we do have existing Yonki Dam or Yonki hydroelectric dam within my province, Eastern Highlands province. I want the Australian government. It's my opinion that they should upgrade that dam. They should augment its capacity, and they should probably invest in putting up expand its capacity, but it can generate double or triple times the rate of electricity it produces at the moment. Because if we want to build data centers, because data centers, they will use up a lot of energy. So that's my second option and opinion. So my third opinion is we can look at possible options like building a nuclear reactor for the country. The Australian government can help the PNG government, and they can invest in building nuclear reactors as in US and Japan. And I don't know about Australia, but
we don't have them for energy. We have one for medicine, but yeah, we don't have nuclear reactors for energy. But the US and Japan certainly.
Yep. So that will be one of my recommendations, because data centers, if we are going to host data centers within the country onshore, we will need a lot of power. So nuclear reactors will definitely provide a lot of energy to power data centers also. But if we don't have those three options that I just stated, if we don't have them, if we don't invest in building electricity supply first, then that will mean that we will have to think about options of hosting data centers also. And in this case here now, we can, like what you've just mentioned, we can consider Australia as an avenue or a space where we can host also data centers for PNG. So at the moment, as I said, Port Moresby, even though it is the capital city of the country, there is frequent power cuts going on, frequent electricity blackouts going on, and it's been happening recurrently for a couple of years now. And the government is, through the PNG Power, and they have done nothing about the issue. We have managing directors coming in, managing directors going out, new person being appointed. Nothing has been done in regard to the fixing this recurrent issue of frequent power cuts within the city, frequent electricity blackouts within the city. So we don't have the capacity to host data centers, mega data centers at the moment. So if we have the Yonki Dam within my province, Eastern Highlands province, so it powers up the entire Highlands provinces, and also the industrial hub of the country, and which is Lae City, and it supplies electricity down there. But At the moment, I've heard that there's been discussion going on about Ramu 2 hydro power project. Yeah, there's been discussion going on there, and I think that would be a good opportunity where the Australian government can also invest in that to especially to increase the the power supply, the electricity supply, especially to feed into the data centers, to power the data centers, so that we can have our have this notion of data sovereignty being realized in the country when we have enough electricity to power the data centers. So data centers can come after the building and expanding data centers. It can come after that, after we consider the electricity supply first. Fixing first the basic first. Electricity is a need in the country. I mean, we have existing power systems, but it's not the capacity will not be able to support the establishment of data centers. So if Australia wants to help, they can first look into helping us to expand our capacity of electricity output within the country. So so that is my opinion.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Australia, I really like what you said. Australia can't be talking about AI and all those other things until it gets unless it's willing to come in and talk more about electricity and actually ensuring that is all, essentially that the grid can do what it's meant to do, so that we can move forward with data centers and everything else. That's fantastic. Well, yeah, that's it for questions from me. Do you have any other points you'd like to make, or anything else you'd like to raise? Otherwise, I can send through the recording, and I'll send through just like 2 more things via email, which is anyone else that I can talk to that you think would be useful for me to talk to in the region that is looking at AI, and then just another, grab your details for whether or not you're happy for us to include you somewhere in the report to say you're one of the people that we consulted, and just make sure we can do a little we can include and say Snob Consultancy, or however you want to present yourself there. I'll send an email to get those details. But is there any other final points you'd like to make?
Yeah, I would like to, when in terms of, making reference to all these viewpoints that I just discussed with you, you can just make mention of, me and my consulting firm as well, Snob Consultancy. And it's the principal consultant of Snob Consultancy. So, and I have a question here, but it's kind of out of context here to ask you. But firstly, I just want to know whether there are programs like AI capacity building programs being funded by the Australian government, because we need to build capacity of personals within the Pacific region to to have the know-how of how to navigate this new digital landscape of artificial intelligence. So I just want to know whether the Australian government has AI capacity building program in place, whether online programs or in-person capacity building programs. I just want to know about that. So can you just clarify a bit on that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
We need to develop professionals with tech skills to navigate the digital landscape of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. So that's why I'm raising this question, sir.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, and I think that's something that I am going to mention in the kind of broader report as well, because I think you're absolutely right. Australia at the moment doesn't really have any AI capacity building programs that I know of in the way that you're talking about it, but they should is the short answer, and they absolutely should. And we shouldn't just be talking about the data centers, and we shouldn't be talking about those things. If we want AI sovereignty in the Pacific, then you're absolutely right. The Pacific needs experts that have the capacity to build these things and build their own kind of tech and manage it and use it all properly. So absolutely, that's a very, very important point that I'll make sure to include as well. But unfortunately, the answer at the moment is no. But hopefully, that's something that Australia is working to in the next couple of years, and for sure, we will include that as a recommendation. There's one final thing to mention as well, and I can send some more details about it via email afterwards. But DFAT at the moment is working with the Development Intelligence Lab to run an event in about 2 months, which is essentially an AI pitching event, where if anyone across the region has good ideas about how to use AI to solve any sort of development issues, the Australian government is very interested in hearing about it. There will be some Australian tech companies kind of at the pitch as well to hear from people, because those capacity building programs haven't really been established yet. They're looking for ideas across the region of things that can be built and connecting those people with ideas to the tech guys that have the experience and an ability to build something like that. So I can send through some more details about that. But yeah, if you yourself have any ideas, or you know someone that has ideas of some sort of AI application that could be built, or a different sort of AI policy that would change the way that it's being used in the region and could solve a problem, Australia is certainly interested in hearing about it.
Okay, thank you very much. So whenever that program comes up, better shoot me an email so that I can, put in my expression of interest as well. But my last question, it's kind of out of context here, but if you don't mind, I just want to ask. There's going to be United Nations Internet Governance Forum. It's coming up in Kenya, at Nairobi, which will be held in Nairobi. So I just want to ask whether you'll be part of that. You'll be present on site there or in person there, because I'm developing a session proposal in collaboration with a cybersecurity expert working with the British High Commission in Kenya. Her name is Miss Clarin Makundu. So we want to put up a session proposal about the integration of a local oral-based languages from the global south into the global internet ecosystem. So I'm working on that session proposal. So if you are going to be present on site at the United Nations Internet Governance Forum in Nairobi, Kenya, please you can let me know so that I can also include you as one of those as a moderator or as a reporter within the session proposal, and you can participate in the session proposal as well, because we are looking to, with our work with CODI, Coalition on Digital Impact, we are trying to integrate oral-based languages from the global south into the global internet ecosystem using AI and machine learning tools. So yeah, so I'll be more or less, I'll be speaking from a structural point of view, but my counterpart will be speaking from a technical point of view, because he's a computer scientist with a PhD in computer science. So yeah, so I'll be happy if you are, will attend in person. Just let me know, and we can include you in that session proposal as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, I won't be, but that sounds very, very interesting. I wish I was. Yeah, that sounds really, really cool. Yeah, as I said, I'll send you the details about the kind of AI pitch program that is being run in Australia. But that might even be something, if you're interested and you need to be connected to more funders or anything like that, that might be something that is worth expressing an interest in for developing that project. But yeah, that sounds amazing. Unfortunately, yeah, I won't be there in person though.
Yeah, that will be really great, because I've developed a couple of projects for the Communications and Information Technology Board for Morobe Provincial Government in Papua New Guinea as a consultant to the inaugural chairman. So yeah, it would be great and really interesting to do a pitch there if that program comes up in the future.
Yeah, great. All right, I'll send those details through. Yeah, thank you very much for the chat this morning, and thank you very much for taking a little bit more time than we had booked in. But I really appreciate your perspectives. That was very insightful, and yeah, there's some really strong recommendations to take away from it. So yeah, I appreciate it very much. Stay in touch.
No worries. Thank you, Blake.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye-bye. Yeah, see ya.